Hey guys, welcome back to the part two of Saim's interview. So let's just continue where we left off. So, Avram, I request you to start.
Uh, yeah, let's talk about more about the decisions you took as the captain for this tournament, captain of the club for this tournament. You were talking about having 60 to 70% of commitment when you're looking at players, and you're saying you have 30 to 40% of looking at the skill of the players. When you're coming to Nicket's point, why did you see Deepish? I mean, I was looking more of Deep is having more commitment over Nickit because he shows up, he shows a lot of hunger for opportunities, while Nickit doesn't exactly show that type of engagement. So why did you not? Why'd you look at Nickit more as favorable?
Because Deepish, right, as amazing as a player he is, a bowler, he's just not mature enough to be in a position like this. Obviously, he talks a lot and says a lot of things he doesn't even know he's saying. So I just don't think he wasn't mature enough. And as Nickit, I look at Nickit, I don't know him that well as much as I do Deepish, I think so. Because I don't know, I just never really had that connection with Nickit, but I just took a chance in Nickit. See how it goes. Because this is a learning process in the club. If he doesn't work out, I will move on to the next.
Yeah, experiments would be a good idea. I mean, especially
Yeah.
when you're looking at the future of the club. Experiments are a good thing. Dhruv, want to add on questions?
Oh yeah, so I wanted to ask. Let's move away from the teams. Let's talk about club in general. So right now, I want you to answer the question as the club's captain, not as your team's captain.
Okay.
So I want to ask you, what's the future after the tournament of the club?
If it was up to me in our situation, I would obviously want to pursue leather ball because I know we need resources for that, but it's just as simple as not saying a leather ball tournament, but at least get into like net practices, like a specific amount of players. We go to a net and we play leather ball. At least do that because that's like the next step for this club.
You're talking about specific players. Are you talking about specific players at a time, or just taking 10, 11 players and putting them to a side for leather ball only?
Specific players at a time. Because
Uh,
obviously nets have
yeah.
limited room. So this could be something. I still haven't made up my mind about this.
Yeah.
Still thinking on it, and we'll talk to my other admins about this too.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. Talking about nets, you have an idea of where the net's going to be, and financially, commie wise as well. Are players ready for it? Have you thought about it, or just you have a general thought in mind that maybe this is the next step after the tournament's done, or yeah, have you have more deep thought into this?
Kind of both, I would say, but I've talked to a few players that want to do it. So if they want to do it, just come along. This could also be something like I do on Saturdays with some players. If you want to come, you come. You don't. If you don't want to come, you don't come. So I'm still thinking about this a lot.
Where will this nets will this be as if like where will it be? Where's the nets at?
So you know where we usually play, right? There's a net there. There's nets
Yes,
there,
but that's only
and
for baseball.
I know,
That's not
but I know
permitted.
I've seen people use leather ball there. I've seen a lot of people do leather ball there.
I'm not sure if that's allowed because that's only regularly for baseball. And
I've
if they
seen
do,
I've seen people.
yeah, but it's
okay.
not allowed.
So
Yeah.
let's just say we don't have the field available for us, those nets available for us. So have you thought of the alternatives?
Yes, I have. There's also a spot at River Chase Elementary School. They have a park there. There's also nets over there. That's where when I used to play with Maz and all the other guys, we used to go and practice there.
Okay. So let's move a bit away from the leather ball, come back to the tournament. So there was a bit of a situation between where both with Danch and you had a stance that Akshay, who's our new player, shouldn't be allowed to play tournament without playing the scrimmages. So can we get a bit of explanation on why was that stance for?
It's just as simple as I didn't want any unknown player to come and mess and mess things up because we're obviously thinking about how each and every player is, and I just wanted him to like wanted out because even Vidansh brought this idea up to me and a few other players I won't name that thought this was a little unfair. So I stood up for my players because that's what I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
And I thought it was wrong too. That's the whole reason.
Okay, so now is the situation good, or is there still some quarrel between you and the Trailblazers?
No, I made a compromise. It's fine. I made a compromise and we will work it out.
Okay. And so, oh,
Hey,
I
what
think we are
happened?
breaking with Abraham.
Hey, what
I'm
happened?
not sure. So let's move on. Let's move on. We'll let Abraham come back when he comes back.
Okay.
So let's move on. Let's go a bit more in depth with the last time. Let's reflect on that. So last time we were here, I called you an ignorant captain. I apologize for that,
No, no,
and I
that's
feel like
fine.
it was
I understood. I understood why you did it.
so you accept you're ignorant.
Sometimes.
Okay,
I understand that sometimes.
okay, yeah,
I can be, yeah, sometimes.
yeah. But I just want to say some people heard it as arrogance, and if like when I said ignorant, some people thought I said I called you an arrogant captain. How would you like to respond to those people?
That are calling me arrogant?
Yeah.
In my books, arrogance is like thinking I'm better than someone and that no one is above me, which I'm not. There's totally players that are better than me, and I'm just not like that. I'm confident, but I don't think anyone's a less of a person than me. I'm not gonna push anyone down just so I can go up.
Okay. By the way, can you give us an example for an arrogant player that we have at the club, if we do?
I can't really say that about anyone. They are who they are. I'm not gonna make a comment about anyone because there really isn't anyone that's arrogant, honestly.
Okay.
Everyone has their own personality.
Okay. Now let's move back to a bit into leather. So when you said, let's say we start playing leather tournaments, have you
Hmm.
thought of potential starting 11s for the tournaments or games?
Yes, I always do, and it's always changing. And but for now, what's confirmed, I have the starting three. What's confirmed is Vedansh, me, and Rehan. That's probably going to be like the starting order. And I will change players depending on that. Because there are players that don't want to play, and there are players that don't want to play leather ball at all. So it will change.
We're talking about leather ball. So does that same percentage come in where you're saying 60 to 70% you're looking at more commitment and 30 to 40% you're looking at skill to players?
Yes, that's so true. Because I'd rather you show up every time than you be a league cricket level player and just show up like 10 times to me, you're showing up once.
There are new players in this club that just started to come. Examples such as Surith,
Uh-huh.
Gurshan, who's debuting this Sunday. Um, Players like those, are you putting them in consideration of commitment wise? Because right now, three scrimmages, they've showed up completely all three scrimmages. And they've actually, in my sense, have tried enough for their skill level as well. So are you putting them in consideration to playing 11?
Again, like I say, 30 to 40% is still talent. If you have like 10% of it, it's not gonna work out. Plus, I didn't even know these players were gonna show up. So I'm still making up my mind about that.
Okay.
As a captain, your job is also to develop players too. Make sure they also like have a potential to play. And it's obviously your job as kind of the coach of the club as well to make sure the player reaches their potential. So how will you be trying to make sure you just said they have 10% skill. So are you trying to make sure
I didn't say
that
they have 10%. I'm saying if you have 10%.
yeah, okay, if players do have 10% skill, for example, how are you trying to make, we'll take an example of Surat right now. Surat
Mm-hmm.
just started coming in. Uh, how are you trying to, like, can you give us a path that you already have for Surat and make sure he performs his best? And yeah, maybe an example or
Okay, so I'm gonna be completely honest. I have not thought about him as much because I thought he wasn't gonna show up. But if he does consistently show up, this will show what he can do and what he can't do. Because as you saw last scrimmage, he was completely out of it. It looked like he wasn't even trying. But if that is his best, I will try and improve him because, again, I'm also improving myself. So I will give him as much as time and energy I can.
And yeah, coming into that, your job as the captain of the club, when making teams for scrimmages, what thought do you have, into making teams for the scrimmages, putting 89% of the time you're the captain of one team. So how do
Mhm.
you find your opponent captain and how do you make the teams? And what can you explain your
Yes,
thought
I
process
understand. I understand.
to the viewers?
What I basically think about is how this team can be balanced. So I have like a contender for every player, like a player that is compared to you, a player that is compared to me, a player that is compared to Vedansh. So I try and separate those players into each pack. And now what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start making players captain to see how they respond under pressure and when they're given a leadership role. And if I need to work on a player one on one, I will keep them in my team. But if I know this player is completely developed, then I will, and I can't help this player, then I will push it to the other team. But hopefully, to resolve that problem, I'm gonna make a vice captain soon, and he will be the other captain, and he will also develop players
When will the announcement be of a permanent vice captain, your deputy
after the
captain
tournament. After the
after the
tournament.
tournament?
After the tournament. I have a few people in mind.
It will be on this channel, by the way, guys. You'll soon know. And so, vice captain, what are your criteria for it?
Just love the game, just wanting to play. That's all. Like show up, try hard, and obviously have that leadership in you and the mindset, a winner mindset. Because there are some players that I thought could be vice captain, they just have zero confidence in themselves and in their.
Uh,
So
so can you give us an example of a player for this winner mindset, like somebody who has this winner mindset?
one would be Jerem, and the other would be Vedant. But again, the thing is also consistency. I know Jerem is a busy person, so I will also take that into account.
Okay. Have you like right now potentially leaked the potential vice captain role? I mean, potential vice captains of this team?
No, I have four names that I'm looking at. I only
Oh,
gave you two.
okay.
So yeah,
So
we're looking at scrimmages as a way to showcase other players' talents, as possible leaderships or leaders for the club as well, and
Mm-hmm.
vice captain.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? I don't
I feel
understand.
like his connection is unstable.
So yeah, will you be looking when you be taking scrimmages as a pathway to find
Yeah,
possible vice captains?
I will be taking scrimmages seriously now. Yes, I will
What made you
be.
change it? What yes, so what change of mind? What made you change your mind?
Just somebody made me realize that I'm the leader of this club and I should be trying every game.
Yeah, so let's talk more about the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest project after the series, obviously. I mean, I want to take two. I mean, obviously, two perspectives from you as a captain of a team, as a captain of the club. Let's deep dive into the captain of the Stallions. You talked a lot about Arif
Mm-hmm.
as a person. I mean, obviously, we're looking right now is just suddenly just going down, and someone needs to stop that, and someone needs to put in stability. And I feel like I mean, you're saying the way you're talking right now, saying that you have the most confidence amongst all the captains to give in that structure and that stability. can you possibly tell us what you'll do, how you'll use RF in order for you to win matches and possibly even lift the cup in this tournament?
Okay. So again, I'm gonna make this clear. For me, this tournament is about making players better. I would love to win, and I think I could win, but if like some people were telling me to drop her off, if I did that, then I would not be able to work with them. I've been wanting to work with him a long time because I see potential there. First, he's consistent. Second, he always shows up, and he tries his best. You can see whenever he's not performing, he always messages me. He always says, Saim, I will try my best next time. I'm practicing. So that's what shows me that I can rely on him. And other thing is how I will use him is it's kind of, I'm not going to say everything, but let's just say I will be planning on using his bowling a lot, more than his batting, actually. That's at least what the current plan is.
Sorry, you said more bowling and less batting?
Yes, that's what the current plan is.
Okay. Yeah, I mean you're talking about more bowling, less batting, in your team that does not have any power-ups right now.
Hmm.
And you're playing against a team twice that also doesn't have enough power-ups as well, doesn't have any
Hmm.
power-ups, matter of fact. But that team, the Gladiators, tend to actually have three players that are performing consistently well. Um, I mean, when you're playing home, first game, the inauguration game of the tournament is you against the Gladiators, and you're playing
Hmm.
home. There's no power-ups in use. It's a raw fist-to-fist fight. Uh, what is your strategy on picking players from the draft pick? And yeah, talk us through your mindset that will be for that first game if you have already thought about it. And just games in general, how you'll tackle them, especially after you're playing four games and none of them be
Hmm.
having any power-up value to
Hmm.
you. How we tackle through that.
Okay, so for the first game, my mindset will be obviously a lot of players that are in the Gladiators, they're good players, but again, one inning does not define a player. So if one of their players had a couple like two good innings, that does not mean that they are like that's what they are. If they had two bad innings, that doesn't mean if they're bad players.
So what defines a player in your opinion then? Because Abhinav has been consistently showing greatness in bowling and emerging as a good all-rounder. Jerem is showing experience, like you just said. Rayan's been consistently 6 to 7
Yeah,
games, has
Rehan,
been
I agree
scoring
with
high
that.
strike rate, a lot of runs as well. So in you're saying that two games doesn't define a player. So what defines a player in your opinion?
What defines a player, in my opinion, is basically you stepping up when the team needs you. Because if you score 100 against someone that you don't really, some player that you don't really need to score against, or in a match that really doesn't matter. Instead, if you score in a final or in a big trophy, that's the importance of a player. And obviously, there's also the mindset aspect of it, which some players in the Gladiators just have zero confidence or mindset, which I'm not gonna name.
So basically, you are looking for big game players.
Big game players as that perform when they're needed.
Could you name us a few big game players that you have seen throughout the journey of our club?
Uh, Examples.
Examples,
Examples,
I would
maybe.
say Vidansh, that's one right there. And I would say Arjun and Rohit.
Rohit. Okay.
And Jay. And Jay. I would also like to add Jay.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, talking about Rohit as well. So are you trying to eye on him for draft picks? I mean,
He,
yeah, I've been analyzing your team as well, aside from this interview, and I feel like your team. I'll talk about this later in my separate video. You're the only team in this tournament that has the ability for you, especially. You can actually opt to choose toss instead of picking player first. And I think you're the only team that's there. And that's a specialty in this tournament. None of the other teams have that. Only your team has that. Either you bowl first or bat first, the same result will most likely encounter as well. So you will be getting second player, in my opinion. I think you should be having that. But yeah, Rohit second pick maybe draft picks. Any idea?
So draft picks, I'm gonna keep that a little personal because that gives away my game plan a lot. So
He
I'm gonna
involves
keep that
the film.
personal, but what you're saying is something similar I have in mind.
Okay, so look, not to prove you wrong or something, but don't misunderstand me what I'm going to ask next. So just listen.
Okay,
So
okay.
you said that two good games or two bad games doesn't prove a player. But then there you said Rohit is a big game player, but he has if you he's only been part of handful of games, like 5 games maybe, and he has only
No,
batted
it's
like
more than that.
two,
He's
3 games.
before the tournament, we had a lot of scrimmages, and he showed up.
He
Abram, he
had
showed
he
up for
has
almost every one of
let's
them.
let's
Yeah,
be
I
honest,
mean,
he
yeah,
hasn't showed up since like last 2 months.
I would agree
Yeah,
with Drew in this point. I mean, scrimmages are probably not defined as big game. So if in your matters scrimmages do define as big game, so does the team effect matter of whether that game is a big game or not a big game?
I'm sorry.
What?
Can you rephrase that question?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree with Drew. What he's saying. He hasn't been playing matches at all since the series actually since what November. And you're saying that he's also a big game player. Let's just can you please elaborate about that? Because you're saying, I
Hmm.
mean, scrimmages are not big game because series are big games, tournaments are big games, but scrimmages are practice sessions in one way you can think of it. So what effect does a scrimmage make it a big game? Is it the team players? Is it the team you're facing against?
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be straight up. I have in scrimmages, like I might have misinterpreted or you heard it wrong, but in scrimmages, I never said he was playing well. I said he showed up. He was consistent. He was showing up before the series. I'm talking about before the series,
Okay.
where I saw him there regularly. That's why I was surprised when he was missing a lot of games. So in the series, I believe I could not have won without him and Jay especially, and Araf. All three of them, when dead bowling came, last few overs of the game, they delivered. Jay pushed my target from like 50 to 76. I still remember that. Rohit hits like two, three fours. Araf hit two fours. These were the players, the tail enders basically, that helped me get the position. That's why I can rely on them to perform when I need them the most. And Rohit has done that, at least for me, from what I've seen.
Uh, so I just wanted to ask, so come back to your tail enders that you said. These tail enders mostly bowled against part-time bowlers. So do you like, where do you like, do you know what a part-time bowler is?
All
So,
rounder, right? Isn't that what part time bowlers?
no, part-time bowler is
Or
like somebody who can bowl, but he bowls occasionally.
so like
Basically,
Surya
that's
and me,
A
Surya and
yeah,
me.
part-time bowler is a person that primarily bats. Take an example, Rohit Sharma. He always bats. He doesn't bowl a lot.
Oh, like
I
yeah.
would
Virat Kohli
you
when
would
he
be
bowled
you would be
once.
considered as a batting all-rounder because
Yeah.
you bowl more often, but you bat. When you think of Saim, you think of batsman, but you do bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But when we
Okay.
think of Surya, he does not bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But part-time bowler means that, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Surya,
fine.
basically.
What was your question?
So I was just saying that your tailenders, you said perform. They did perform, nothing to take away from them. But the most of the bowlers were part-time bowlers. Obviously, the RCC Blue captain had ran out of his overs for his main bowlers, and he had to like go for his part-time bowlers. Like I do remember, like
Rehan was
I mean,
there.
last game it was
Oh, last game? Yeah.
Surya and
Uh-huh.
me who bowled to the tail ender. So I'm just asking, how are you
Okay.
going to expect them to perform against mainstream bowlers?
I think again, like you said before, repeating your question, you said that they played against bowlers that were not actually bowlers, part-time bowlers, as you say.
Yeah.
I think that's the captain's mindset of thinking that he played them at death overs because death overs are really important. So I think if you're talking about that perspective, he could have saved his lower for last. That's the other team's thinking. And my players performed when I needed them to. And if I think about what they're gonna do against big time players, or like Arjun or even Abhiram that are good bowlers, I think they're still gonna perform consistently. Or even Rehan. Rehan is a good bowler when he's focused. And I've seen a Raf hitting fours. I even saw a Raf hitting fours and like Vedanta's balls. Same with Rohit. I've seen them do consistently do good against players when they're given the confidence that they need.
Okay. And Avram, do you have a question?
Uh, I want to hear more from you about the tournament. Just
Okay.
Like, we
we
just want you to yap, basically.
Okay,
Not
yeah. Any
yeah
questions you guys have, feel free to ask.
no.
we saw Jerem talk about what style he's gonna play that tournament. He said he's gonna play really aggressively.
Mm-hmm. He
How are you gonna
should.
play? How are you
He
gonna play?
should play aggressively. Yeah, he has a aggressive team. How I'm gonna play?
I mean,
Adaptability.
especially, I mean, you said in Dhruv's interview, for the captain's interview, saying that you as a batsman are going to play really conservatively. As I believe you said that, and aggressiveness doesn't define conservativeness. So, that's the element for your tournament?
Adaptability. I want my team to adapt while playing with different teams. Because I know Vedant, he has more of a critical mindset. He's gonna let me hit a few six just so he could get me out the next ball. Right? He has a good mindset and he's gonna think strategically about his things. Jerome, on the other hand, like he said, he stated that he's gonna play aggressively as he should. He has aggressive players. And if he's gonna follow through that, then I'm gonna respond with something that deflects aggressiveness, which I'm gonna keep to myself. What I'm gonna do.
I have a question. You talked a lot about Jerem and you talked a lot about Vedansh, but you haven't really talked about Nikit. So,
Because I can't say anything about his team. I don't even know how his third player plays yet. I have no plan for him. Because I know how to tackle Surya, I know how to tackle Nikit. This third player could change the game. The what's that, like 3 overs right there? Even if his batting pays off, that could change the game. So I'm gonna wait and watch and adapt because I'm good at that.
okay, so I guess that is one final question. I mean, it's
Hmm.
not really a question. So let's say if this thing was a boxing match and you were a Jake Paul, who would be your who would you like to challenge next?
What do you mean? Like,
Like, who do you would you like to interview next? Like, who are you going to call up for the interview?
okay. I know I said I wouldn't do this, but Vedant, I think he needs
Okay.
to get a little taste of this. He's been a little too far on the sidelines. He needs to come up here too. Let's see what he has to say.
Okay. Okay, Vedant, so Saim has officially challenged you for an
I
interview. So,
challenge, no challenge, bro. Just come.
okay, no, I'm just phrasing it that way so he
Yeah,
can
go ahead, go
actually.
ahead. Just want to make
You
sure.
never know that guy. He does
Yeah,
not like any stress, but if you challenge him, he's
mhm.
gonna show up. So it's a challenge for you that you have to come up and interview here. So I guess that is all for today. Thanks for watching.
Sorry, Vedant.
Sorry.
Okay, okay, Abram.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
I asked Nikith Jerem as well. From 4 to 1, please rank what the teams like 4 to 1 position, like fourth
Oh,
place to first place. Rank the teams and why for each team.
Okay.
your predictions for tournament.
4-1. Like, who's gonna win?
One being the best team, two being second best, third best, and then
So,
fourth best.
oh,
Last.
so now winning just best teams, right?
I mean,
Like,
if you're the
who do you?
best team, you're gonna win the tournament.
Yeah,
So,
what team do you have the highest hopes from, and what team do you think is just not gonna perform?
and why
Okay,
each
this
team?
is not personal or anything, but team that I think is gonna perform the best. I'm not gonna say win the tournament, but I think is gonna perform the best. Or should I say win the tournament?
Win the tournament.
Okay, I think first my team,
Why?
because I feel like we have more of at least we are getting towards more of a mindset
Okay.
more than talent. We're not gonna give up. We're gonna play with a strong mindset and positive attitude.
Okay. Second best?
Second would be Vedanta's team.
Why?
I think he just has players he can depend on, and Dhruv hasn't performing consistently right now. So I think he can depend on Dhruv, and he himself is a game changer. He can perform, and his mindset is also really good.
Okay.
And third would be, I would say, this is tough. Third, I'm gonna say Jaron.
Why is
Okay.
he okay? Why is he third, not top two? Because generally we're talking about Jam, we're thinking, oh, he's top two team. Why'd you put him third?
Since he's new to captaincy, I don't think he's gonna be able to. This is not to throw stones or anyone, but still, I don't think his team will be able to like play together, and they're gonna have a moment of weakness, which captain like Vedant will take advantage of.
Oh,
And Nicket's team, I would say fourth.
Okay.
Because again, now I have realized that Nickett is not the best captain of choice. Even he himself said it. He was surprised. So I have realized that, and I think his captaincy might lack off.
okay.
But you never know. These positions may not even be entirely true. This is up entirely to how the players play, which I hope everybody does their best. Because again, my goal is every player gets better. I would love to win, but if me losing means Araf is an infinitely better spinner, then I would accept that happily.
Okay. By the way, just to note that he did call Gladiators overrated in his first interview. Until then, bye.